Hey everyone, today we're going to jump into a play called Art Therapy. And it's just this brilliant look at what happens when you put a friendship under a microscope using a single and very, very expensive piece of art.
So, let's start with this number, $375,000. Just let that sink in for a second. That is a life-changing amount of money, right?
Because in this story, that's exactly what this is. It's not about buying a house or starting a business. Nope. This money becomes the trigger that threatens to completely blow up a friendship that's been solid for 3 whole decades.
So you have to ask, how does one single object get that much power? Well, it all starts with 3 friends who've known each other forever and one really, really provocative purchase. Okay, so let's meet our trio. First, there's Ginny, a successful architect who's doing really well for herself. Then you've got Carol, a super sharp, no-nonsense federal judge. And rounding them out is Flo, the easygoing, well-read bookstore clerk who's always kind of the mediator. And these 3, they've been inseparable since grade school. I mean, they've been through everything together. You'd think their bond was absolutely unbreakable.
Now, before we go any further, we've got to talk about a little storytelling trick called the MacGuffin. And that's exactly what this painting is. You see, the story isn't really about the piece of art. It's about what the art brings to the surface, all the hidden resentments, the little insecurities, the quiet judgments that have been bubbling just under the surface of their friendship for years.
And boom, here it is. Carol lays it out perfectly. Ginny, her best friend, goes out and spends a small fortune on this massive painting that, to Carol, just looks pink. And with that one purchase, the very first crack in their 30-year foundation starts to show.
And you know, this isn't just some simple disagreement over taste. It spirals into a battle over their core values, a questioning of who they become, and this deep-seated fear of being left behind.
This chart just lays it all out, doesn't it? It shows how they're living in completely different worlds now. To Ginny, the painting has nuance, technique. It's her entry into a new, more sophisticated life. But to Carol, she sees a pink canvas, a massive waste of money, and her best friend diving headfirst into Snob City. The thing is, it's like they're not even looking at the same object anymore. And Ginny's first thought isn't, oh, my friend is concerned. No, she immediately assumes Carol's reaction is just plain old jealousy. She feels like she's being judged for her success, and bam, the defensive walls go right up.
But if you look at it from Carol's side, it's not really jealousy at all. It's confusion. It's shock. This huge, impulsive purchase makes her feel like the person she's known her entire life has suddenly become a total stranger. She just doesn't recognize her values anymore.
And that's what this is all really about. The painting is just the battlefield. The actual war is about their identities changing over time. And it poses a huge question. Can their friendship actually survive when they're not the same people they used to be?
So what starts as a simple disagreement just escalates, and fast. When all 3 of them are finally in the same room, all that quiet subtext, it becomes very, very loud, and their entire friendship is suddenly put on trial.
It kicks off with maybe the simplest but most cutting jab. Ginny just throws what she sees as Carol's insecurity right back in her face. But, oh, it gets so much more personal. Ginny goes for the throat, attacking Carol's career, her very identity as a judge. She twists her profession into a weapon, calling her an executioner who just passes judgment on everything and everyone.
And right here, this is the point of no return. All the niceties, all the pretense of being civil, it's gone. The gloves are completely off. It's just raw, unfiltered, and designed to hurt.
And then all that verbal violence finally boils over into a physical act. In the middle of it all, Carol swings at Ginny, but she misses and accidentally slaps Flo, the mediator, who's literally caught in the crossfire. And that one sound, it just silences the entire room. It makes them realize just how far off the rails they've gone.
So, in the quiet after the storm, Flo shares this very dense but really profound quote from her therapist. Okay, let's break that down. What it's really asking is, are we our true selves in our friendships? Or are we just playing the roles we've been assigned? You know, the successful one, the practical one, the peacemaker. This whole fight has forced them to question the very basis of who they are to each other.
So, after hitting absolute rock bottom, how in the world do they find their way back? Well, the path to fixing things actually starts with the very object that tore them apart in the first place.
Okay, this next moment is just unbelievable.
Ginny walks over, hands Carol a felt tip marker, and says, "Go on, do it." So Carol does. She draws this huge smiley face right across the canvas. But here's the twist. The ink was washable. Ginny knew it all along. It was never about destroying the painting. It was a test. It was an incredible act of trust, proving that their friendship meant more to her than any price tag.
But healing doesn't happen overnight. They acknowledge just how much damage was done, and they agree to what they call a probationary period. They know they have to put in the work, consciously and carefully, to rebuild what they nearly shattered. And that feels so real, right?
And this is the big question they're left with. Just like a piece of art can mean completely different things to different people, or even to the same person at a different point in their life, maybe a friendship also has to be open to reinterpretation as people grow and change.
And that leads to this just beautiful ending. Carol, who was the biggest skeptic, looks at the painting again. Only this time, she doesn't see an overpriced pink canvas. She sees a story. She sees flamingos huddled together in the cold. She sees a bond for survival, which is just the most perfect metaphor for their own friendship.
And that's the thought the play leaves us with. It's such a powerful reminder that sometimes the biggest fights we have aren't really about the thing we're fighting about. They're about all the unspoken truths and fears hiding underneath. It really challenges all of us to look past the pink painting in our own lives and see what's really at stake.